I'm Anise Alisea. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I address various topics on mental health. So today I wanted to talk to you about what's in the background. And what you can see in my background, you can see my cute dog that I love. And you can also see my set of 3-panel portraits. And I'm going to, maybe you can't really see it very well. I'm gonna get a little closer. But I hung those up and I can eyeball pretty well, measure. And I didn't notice until I got the third one up that they are not in alignment at all. They are completely uneven. And I hung those up 3 years ago, I think, 3, maybe 4. And I noticed it and I thought, I should probably really fix that. And they are still out of alignment today. And this is kind of the area in my house that the most activity happens in. We eat at our dining room table. We have an open concept, so we cook in our kitchen area of this open space. We watch TV together. We do our devotionals together. We host parties. We have family time, homework time, you name it. There's a lot of activity that happens in this area of our home. And what's in the background the whole time are these unadjusted, uneven pictures on the wall that I've been meaning to correct and adjust for 3, maybe 4 years. And so I don't notice them very often because they're in the background of every day of things that I do. I work from home now too. And so they're just kind of always there and I don't notice them until I notice them. And then that becomes the only thing that I see. And it could be in the background of a video, it can be in the background of a picture, or maybe I just happen to look at them a little more closely and I think, they're uneven. And maybe other people notice them when they come over. I don't know, nobody has said anything, but I do point it out though when people comment on them. And so they just kind of stay unadjusted and not fixed. And I always mean to do it, but I don't ever do it. And I think that sometimes we can have areas in our life that are like that because it's been like that for so long, we kind of forget about it. And it goes unadjusted, uncorrected, and eventually we could quit seeing it. Like we just don't even notice it anymore until we do notice it, and then it becomes a problem. And maybe it's something that you grew up with, like some sort of family dysfunction or abuse, or maybe a bad habit that you formed along either in your childhood, teens, or adulthood. It could be something, like when my family gets into an argument, we just give each other the silent treatment and we never actually go back and address the thing that caused the argument in the first place, because that's what we've always done. We've always done it that way and we don't really address it or talk about it. Or maybe it's, we say hurtful and mean things to each other. When we get mad, we stuff it, when we blow up, and then just move on because that's what we've always done. We don't even notice it's a problem. Or maybe it's something like unhealthy eating habits, like we eat fast food several times a week and we just always do it. We don't correct it. We don't notice it. It could be maybe unhealthy spending habits. You were raised in a home where you never had money. Your parents never had money despite having good jobs, spending more than what they were making. And there was always a lack and always a need to improve finances, but eventually it goes unaddressed. And the problem with that is not only does it impact you, but then it impacts your own family that you start. So we bring those unaddressed things that are like the background that we forget about, that we become convinced that are totally normal, but sometimes they aren't normal. And even if they are normal, sometimes they're not healthy. And then we bring it into the new family that we're creating, and we think, well, this is just how it's always been done. It's never going to get better. And I actually don't even think it's a problem. You'd be surprised how many people will tell me their traumatic events or painful thing in their past, and they'll say, but it's not that big of a deal. It really doesn't affect me. And I'm sitting there with my heart hurting for them, that knowing that that's what they've been through, that they've kind of made part of the background to survive. Usually that's the case. And so how do we take something that's part of the background that we've kind of made normal, that we've become blind to? How do we change that? Well, the first step is acknowledging that something is out of alignment. And so I think sometimes we have to take a hard look at ourselves. Okay, is there a change that needs to be made? Okay, my doctor's telling me my blood sugar's too high. I obviously need to change something. Maybe I'm not having the communication that I want with my spouse, or I'm offending my friends. Maybe I need to change something. You can look at something and decide you're still going to neglect it and you will not make any progress. But remember, like I said earlier, just because you don't acknowledge it or you don't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there. It's still there, but it's just you've made it part of the background. And maybe it actually is negatively impacting those around you. And I think that the number one thing that I try to get people to think about is how is that thing that needs to be adjusted that maybe we've grown comfortable with or feel like it's normal or justified, how do we make sure that it doesn't negatively affect our kids? What you're doing, making habits of, having kinds of relationships, the things that go unaddressed, they are going to impact our children and they will be passed down. And we have to decide, am I going to straighten out something that is out of alignment, or am I going to continue to ignore it and participate in the passing down into my children that same problem? And when I say this, that is not to help people to self-blame or feel guilt, but sometimes we need to see an adjustment needs to be made. And we have to ask God, is there an area in my life? Like, I'm feeling like something's off. When I go to the doctor, she is saying that I have this problem in my blood work, or maybe I want to make this change and I don't know how. And I think it's important then you find people that will help you, your pastor, your friends, family that don't have that problem. You don't want to go to somebody that is less wise than you and less disciplined than you in the area, because that will be your lid for success. If you go to somebody that is terrible with money and you want to talk to them about money, that's going to be your lid. You are not going to get any better than they are. So you want to go to somebody that knows how to manage their finances, if that's the area. If you want to manage your health, go to your doctor, go to a fitness coach, whatever you have to do, go to somebody that knows more than you. Your mental health, go see a therapist, please. This is just another umbrella or another spoke of the larger healthcare umbrella. We are in healthcare. You have a mental health, whether you are comfortable with thinking that you do or not, it's there. And so you need to get that addressed, and family issues can be addressed by a therapist. And it's very hard to take that look at yourself, but if it's to save your children or your grandchildren from going through the same things that you are, you have to realize it's worth it. And if God has put it in your heart then to address these areas, He will give you the ability to change these things. Now, it may not be to the level that maybe your kids can or your grandkids can, but you are giving them a direct foundation to build on continued wellness, continued health, continued, living a godly life. Then if you didn't, they're going to have to start from scratch. Save your kids the hardship of having to do the foundation themselves, and you lay it down for them so that it's easier for your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, and so on. And then maybe as the years go on, with each generation, this can be straightened out.